Well, welcome back. That was fun, wasn't it? It turns out that, well, the internet went out for a split second, and that is enough to just destroy what we've got going on. Woohoo. Anyhow, we're back. I trust that you all managed to take a comfort break and fill yourself with coffee, etc., while I was busy creating a new stream. We're all good. I was talking about stuff. I'm fried now. I'm absolutely fried. That's just not good. But anyway, we'll get there. This is Luthiers Question Time, part 2 for the 13th of the 6th, 2021, because the first stream was interrupted by the gods of the internet. I've got a dedicated internet line put into this to this property for this, to make sure the live streams go off without a hitch, and yet this is the second time this has happened. So, yay. What can you do? Now, questions. The meaning of life, the universe, and everything is, of course, 42. Doctor Who 72 says, how do you keep the blade of a jigsaw from bending when cutting curves? On my most recent guitar, the sides are angled outwards because the jigsaw blade kept bending when cutting like that. It is a case of having the right saw blades for the job, for one. A blunt blade wants to curve in that way. That being said, look at Shred, that guitar. All of the sides are all angled on purpose, so you could make it a feature. But yes, a blunt old blade will do that, and one where the teeth are too fine, i.e. using a blade with 8 or 10 TPI rather than a more aggressive woodcutting blade with 4 or 5, I suppose. But sometimes, and I apologise, sometimes it is literally just the saw and the way it wants to do things, the setup of the saw itself. There's a lot of adjustment in these tools, and I think you need to experiment and play with them as much as you could. Robert Tucker says, have you seen Ridgewing modular guitars? Ever thought about building something like that? I did my 90-hour guitar based not specifically on Ridgewing, but the look, the 3D printed look that they've got of their bodies. It's cool as, but I wanted to prove that a guitar builder could do that if he fancied it as well. In fact, I've got another 90-hour style build coming up, because I'm a masochist, maybe. Alexis Guitar says, hi Ben, love the Crimson High build oil finish, but terrified of the cloths going up in flames, as you bloody well need to be. Any advice on a similar finish without the risk of spontaneous combustion? No. Honestly, do what we do, which is we have a water bucket in the workshop, and when you finish with the rags, you throw the rags into the water bucket, and when that is full, you take that outside, and in the sun, let the water all dry off outside, away where there isn't any risk of fire, or where there isn't any risk of a potential fire causing any issues. By doing that, you've completely negated any risk of the fire starting. The water in there stops that. The oil basically cures in the process, and once it's drying outside, once the water is being evaporated, that's the correct terminology, it doesn't spontaneously combust. I have a small forge outside that, and I just walk outside my door and throw my rags on there. My 10-year-old boy, soon to be 11-year-old, we were working the other day, and he left the workshop. And I was like, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm just putting my oily rag in the forge." I'm like, good boy, very good boy. So yeah, there we go. Make it so. Lisa Green, again. What is the skinny on radius blocks, Ben? When should they be used? Why and how, please? So radius blocks are one of those things. I avoid using them as much as possible because you're sanding a large section of your instrument, and sanding, especially by hand, is just a long process. So the first thing I'm going to say is where not to use them. If at all possible, do not use them to take a rectangular fretboard and put a radius onto it. If at all possible, use a hand plane to pre-radius it, and then the radius block just is the finishing touch. It takes a while, it's not particularly comfortable to use, but it gets absolute perfection. That's what it is for. I also use them as clamping blocks a lot. So that's one of those things. Well, actually, that is it, really. Yeah. There we go. Good question. Okay, Tahoe Mike says, hello world. Phantom, stainless steel frets, do you use them in your builds and the guitars Crimson makes? Why not? We do when required to, when asked to. I don't see any real difference, any major difference. They are a little bit harder. They don't... we make very good tools at Crimson, so it's not too much of a wear and tear, for example. It does add maybe 10 minutes, I suppose, probably not even that, of time, because we do use very, very, very high quality nickel silver frets that are almost as hard. So yeah, we don't, not as standard at least. They are also more expensive, but when a customer asks for one, we will do. And again, short of the specifying of them and pulling them out, etc., there's no real difference to us as luthiers. Sound, it's a different story, I think. John Morris. Hi Ben, what do you think of the idea of hiding an RFID tag somewhere in a guitar during a build as a method of combating forgeries and aiding stolen guitars being returned to their owners? I have done it, not to do with forgeries. I hadn't ever considered that, to be honest. But yes, I have done it in the past. I will do it in the future, and it's well worth doing. Okay. John Morris. Oh no, wait, I've just done that. So sorry. Yes, very interesting question. So, we're not going to go for another hour and a half. Or are we? I don't know. Okay. Fried rice. This is from Rob Tootle. Would you rather be allergic to wood or coffee? That's what I was answering. There we go. I would rather be allergic to coffee. I'm not sure how much... This was the question that I was answering when the stream died, and I just got to it, so you didn't really hear. The answer was much... I would definitely rather be allergic to coffee, because I can always drink tea. I would be crying, and I would miss it, and I would go through major withdrawal, like probably several weeks of excruciating headaches. I am that addicted. But my life's work is literally... My God, that sounds weird to say. Working with wood and teaching about wood and making and creating, and the joy and love that I have for creating with wood. Guitars are almost superfluous to that, to be honest. So yeah, coffee. Very good question. Mean, but good. The anarcho-lutherist said, I went to go and find the cat. That is a... Yes. Bob Hewitt says, the interwebs are a fickle pickle. Okay. Chris Wick. Hey Ben, I was wondering what problems could arise from installing a tunematic bridge at a 19-degree angle for a multi-scale. Okay. I know the string spacing would be wacky. What else could happen? So essentially, if you have got lots of string notches on the saddle, in order to move the string to whichever notch actually lines up with where the string needs to be as you adjust the intonation, because adjusting the intonation, if it's at the angle, would push the string off to one side or the other. So lots of notches there, and then you physically move the string so that it's in line properly. Should be fine. I wonder how... I suspect, visualizing it in my head, I suspect that you would have less range of movement from an intonation point of view before the string is way out. It's too far offline to be of use. That's the only real thing that I can see that is an issue there, to be honest. It's something I was thinking about with Shred over here. So yeah, well, I was about to say not a bad question at all, because I've been thinking about it. Assuming that we think alike. Fools never differ. Geniuses, I don't know. Yada yada yada. Great minds. Woohoo! John Morris says that he thinks that Gibson does this, but just for tracking within the factory. That's interesting. Steve Fines is coming with a $5 super chat. Thanks very much. He says, I'm loving the GGBO saga and I'm looking forward to the guitar. My first kit build is hanging with its 5th coat of finish right now. Congratulations. And are you going to be in it next year? I suppose that's the real question, isn't it? We had 100 people last year, and I expected to maybe have 200-300 maybe this year, and it was 400 pretty much immediately, and there are still people joining. It's just incredible. I am so excited to see what happens with GGBO moving forward. Next year will be a much different beast. I am going to slow down my build schedule massively, or at least build a bunch of stuff beforehand, so that I can actively comment or commentate on the whole series and feature everybody's build to some... It would have to be featuring everybody's build. So, yeah. Yeah, May is going to be a fun one next year, I tell you. Okay, Franz Truter says, oh, come on, the comments just shoot off. And then you lose the comment and you can't see it. Franz Truter was asking me something, and I now need to go and find it in the hundreds of questions that we've got. Josh, got any good resources for guitar wiring? I answered this in the last one. Go to Seymour Duncan's website. That's the best bet for the minute. We are writing a book on that. Oh, that's hilarious. Literally, Matthias Lundgren asked that question in the previous stream. But I've answered it twice because, hey. Ryan Tobin says, hi Ben, I want to use a scroll saw to make templates, but I keep breaking the blades. How do you figure out the proper tension needed for the blades? Okay, if you're making templates, the blades that most scroll saws will come with are for cutting through fine veneers and things like that. You want to get a much stronger blade, much thicker, that is less likely to do that. The tension, though, it's just to feel. You want the blade when you ping it to ring, to have a bright sound, but not be very, very bright. You'll hear what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. Luke Denning. Any pitfalls to avoid when training up as a luthier? I've just been offered a training opportunity. You are so far ahead of almost everybody else. It is so difficult to get actually offered anything other than, hey, come to my school or a guitar building school or something like that. I've just been offered a training opportunity. Anything you wish you could have told yourself when you were starting out? Yes. When I was starting out, I would have told myself to ditch the girlfriend, be as single as humanly possible, ditch the band, ditch any thoughts of a social life, and actively use the workshops and the expertise available. I was far too busy being young and stupid. I was at West Dean College studying early stringed musical instruments. I could have lived on campus. I could have been in the workshop from, well, let's not be silly, say 8 o'clock. They had fantastic food there. Oh, actual. Anyway, and I could have left at, I think, 8:30 or 9 at night. Instead, I was rocking up at 9 and leaving at 5 because I had a band and a girlfriend and a social life, and I lived off campus. And all of those hours that I missed out on, I really regret it. I really regret it. And, you know, there's things to be said for being in a band and having a girlfriend, but Luthiery. So there is that. I was very single-minded, and am. When I decide I'm going to do something, that's the thing I'm doing. Now, the most important lesson I've learnt in the meantime is that is very important, but also be open-minded. And when somebody proves to you that actually this particular course of action, be it a career in guitar building or be it as big as a career in guitar building or as small as all plain blades need to be sharpened with a perfectly flat edge versus some with a flat edge and some with a camber. You know, be open to change, be open to being told that you were wrong and that something needs to be adjusted. And I think that goes in life as much as in guitar building. But there are myriad ways of doing things, specifically in a guitar workshop, and just imbibe as much as you possibly can without being too annoying, and you'll be sorted. But congratulations on getting a place. Seriously, well done. There are so few available, which is sad. I'm still looking for Franz Truters. Jackass 315 says, just burn your rags after on purpose, which actually also works. Just don't breathe that stuff in. Here we go. Franz Truter. Hi again, Ben. When it comes to crowning the frets, how would it be done with a not dedicated crowning file? Or I'm screwed for not investing in one. You can, if you have access to a grinder and sandpaper, take a traditional crowning file, rewind. I've just watched Loki. That would be awesome if I could actually just rewind everything. The first episode at least. Traditional triangular file, you can grind the edges, you can polish them, and my first ones were made like that because the ones that I bought were horrific and expensive. So you can do that. It doesn't have to be triangular. You can use a rectangular file where you have done that again. Now, obviously, I would love for you to buy one from Crimson, but I understand. You know, I made these tools because I learned how to make these tools because you can make the tools yourself. And if you need to, and have the time to do it, go and do it. But yes, even if you are using a non-manufactured for the purpose file, you are going to need to protect your fretboard some way. So either a fretboard protector or masking it off, etc. But you need to have that safe edge ground on there. It's something that you can do, I'm sure of it. I remember making a scraper burnishing tool out of a triangular file because that's what I was told to do, using by my master at West Dean College actually. And yeah, that was a lot of grinding and polishing, it really was. Nohalo7 says is never dull, good for oiling fretboards. I have no idea. I have never heard of it. Bedroom Programmer says, yeah, Katana broke the internet. I still believe that Katana and the likes are as much snake oil as Plek is. Change my mind. I know at least that Plek does do its job okay. It just takes as long or longer than a human being does, and isn't necessarily done with the same sort of finesse, as it were. I mean, it isn't. It just isn't done with the same level of finesse, in my opinion. So I don't think it's quite snake oil, the Plek machine. I do think it's an unnecessary. I would much rather humans had the work than some random CNC. And I know a person needs to put the guitar in and take it out, but yeah. Anyway, the Katana system. How much are they? Please, I'm asking you a question now. Somebody in the comments, let me know how much they are. I would be tempted actually maybe to buy one. You see, as much as I hate the thing, the thought of doing a video just to ruin somebody's business, even if I think it is snake oil, yeah, I don't like it. Anyway, okay. C. Goddard. Hello, Ben. Maple Bacon. Any thoughts to regionals for GGBO 2022? I feel like I'll never get through all participants' builds. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm tired. I'm sorry. All right. BGBO regionals. I just had a fantastic idea about Great Guitar Builders 2022. I really think that it would be incredible if we had regional parts of the competitions and everything goes down. And so the US contingent, in fact, it would probably be, East and West. And that's me looking at the map, East and West. Oh, shut up, Ben. I'm tired now. Okay. I think that's a really, really great idea. Especially if we're talking about 500, 600, 700 people entering next year, and that's the plan. Creever Eyes asking if I refilled my bottle. No, I did not. Rab Knox says, how long has the stream been going? It has been going for 23 minutes and 9 seconds. Vulcan Essen. V. Hi Ben. Did you ever build a guitar by assessing how the customer plays and fit it to his or her physique? I have done that in the past, quite a few times actually. And in particular, now this was never actually ordered, but I had a customer come in. Oh, it would have been amazing. It was a whole band actually, and their management were asking for quotes for me to make them a Perspex piano, i.e. rehouse an entire piano in Perspex, and a cool guitar. I can't remember at all. Maybe I can't remember the guitar at all. But a bass specifically designed around the bass player's physique, and he had dwarfism. I'm not entirely sure what's the politically correct way to say that. I think it depends on who you're talking to, but essentially he was relatively small, but also had some physical limitations, a curved spine, and he was a fantastic bass player, but struggled with pain after playing for a while. So I came up with various things that would help with that, and specifically based around his physicality. And it's essentially, unfortunately, we completely lost contact. His management, I suppose, said no, and he couldn't afford to do it on his own, and I couldn't afford to do it for free. And but yeah, it's one of those things. Robert Tucker, don't tempt me. What is your most exotic idea for a guitar that you've not yet built? Well, the GGBO was... The GGBO build was going to be something entirely different, made out of boxes that opened and closed and on hinges and all sorts of stuff. So that'll have to be the next one. Okay. Matthias Lindgren says, also, Ben, if you want a more Swedish pronunciation of my name, it's closer to Mattias. T being close to T, but with more of an E in the end. There we go. Matthias Lindgren. It really does... Yeah. There we go. It's important to me. Patrick Nesbo, question. Would you ever consider selling parts such as pickup rings, knobs, tuning pegs and nuts in exotic woods? Yes, from Crimson. Yes, we've done pickup rings in the past, for sure. They were problematic because of short grain and all that jazz, and yeah. But I have a new CNC machine coming. I think it's even arriving next week. Come to think of that. Yeah. You know, we've expanded Crimson within the building over and over and over, and we've now taken over 95% of our building. There's a small workshop at the back that isn't ours, and it was literally built for us. It was an open barn, and the back entranceway was made big enough, we thought, for a CNC machine. Apparently they guesstimated that, and the entranceway was actually less than an inch too small for pretty much any CNC machine that we wanted that was worth buying. So yeah, we've had to knock a wall down, or at least have a wall knocked down. I can't see who asked the question, but is there a problem with using swamp ash to make a neck from? It's not the strongest of woods. Rab Knox is saying, no, Ben, no. Well, I don't know why. What did I answer? Oh, yes. Monotone says, don't, whatever you do, grind down an old file when you're making a fret grinding file. They need to be sharp. The main thing he noticed from going from a homemade one to a Crimson one. Yeah, a new file is very, very important. Coolwood Italy says, hi Ben, I've just finished my second GGBO entry. Do the photos need to go in the video or just be sent to Crimson? Both, preferably. Patrick Nesbo says, question, how do you ebonize a fretboard? Black stain is all you need of some sort. You can potentially use fire if you really want to, but that will give you a texture that might not be nice unless you're going to epoxy over it. But yeah, it is a stain process, pretty much. Bob Hewitt says, Plex systems cost $200,000. Okay, I understand. No, Ben, no. I apologize. You misunderstood me. There is no way that I'm going to spend $200,000 or $50,000 or $5,000 even on a Plex machine just to prove that it's a piece of, that it's not worth having. I was talking about the Katana system. I want to know the price of the Katana system. Crikey. But actually, I don't think I would want to make a video just doing that. Okay, Courier 11 seconds says, hi Ben, glad you got your internet sorted. So am I, for now. I'm currently working on a classical with a slight twist in the neck, no truss rod or anything. Any suggestions? Take the frets out and plane the twist out of the fretboard, or if you really want to, you can take the whole fretboard off, i.e. not plane the whole thread, but off, take it off using heat and a spatula. Palette knife, more like, and plane it out of the neck so that it looks good. It depends on the instrument. You also need to figure out whether it's actually necessary. Some twists, I've built guitars with a twist in on purpose from an ergonomic point of view. So if the twist is falling down and to the treble E string, for example, then that's actually ergonomically a better way to play. You don't need to look at your fingers now, do you? Richard Garnish, this is interesting because it sounds like he has a actual experience, says a plec is at best only as good as its operator. I had no idea that there was actually any skill to operating them. And this is the problem. I'm here giving an opinion based on not much. I apologise. Bob Hewitt. Oh no, I've answered that one. Okay. Djin91 says, emergency help! I ruined a tunematic bridge by cutting too deep. Is there a way to fix it? I can't seem to find if the saddles are replaceable. Yes, the saddles are replaceable. They are locked. It depends on the brand of tunematic. They are locked in there. I'm assuming that essentially you have snapped the saddle in half, which sounds likely. Yeah. You may well be able to get a spare part from somebody, but it sounds to me like it's probably just going to be easier just to buy a new one, I'm afraid. I am sorry to say. Okay. Greg Freeman says, I have used the same fret file that is rounded on both sides to do maybe 50 fret jobs, and is that still a legit way to finish frets? If you have got the right size fret wire and you have got to the point where you understand the intense limitations of that file, then there's no reason for you to change. I despise those files. I did a little bit of a rant about them. Here's a diamond one that I have here, because of the many issues that I have with them, specifically for beginners, going too far, needing to re-level the frets, or etching into the fretboard because you're using the wrong size file for the fret that you've currently got, or etching or scraping into the side of the fret and causing a strange shape because, again, you're using the wrong size. There's just many issues with them. But if you're at this stage and you know how to use it and you avoided all those things, stick with it. Why not? Rodolfo Tomazelli says, greetings, Ben. I would like to see you build a custom tuner set out of as much wood as possible. I am in Nebula making some custom tuned knobs. Wow, I'm tired. Please excuse me. Yes, we have been going for well over half an hour, and that means that that's been a 2-hour stream, technically. Vulcan Essen has come back in with another €5 super chat. Thanks, man. And it says, hi, Ben. Did you ever suffer a Luthiers/writers block? If so, how did you navigate out of it? Cheers, V. Not really, because I'm very lucky in that I have customers, really. So when that would potentially have been a problem, I was actually working as a luthier building instruments for people rather than for camera. And it was a case of talking to people, getting their ideas and trying to convince them that they were wrong sometimes. And you don't need all of those switches. Volume and tone and a 3-way is all you really need. So I was lucky I had that in there. And then at this stage, yes, I was feeling 4 or 5 years ago, I was feeling particularly uninspired. And then I started looking at Pinterest and Instagram and things like that, and I'm going, oh my God, you know, these people are making amazing things. And not only that, I started looking at jewelers and leather workers and many other crafts that I've always been interested in, but I've never actually concentrated on. And watching workshop tours of all sorts of random people in random careers, and you see a snippet of something in a knife maker's workshop, I suppose Damascus or etching or fire, and it's like, well, I'm going to play with fire then. So yeah, I always have an open mind. SC Guitar says, I'm moving to a region where no one else lives, lol, so that I can win. Muhahaha. Antarctica winner. We will try and make it so that each, is conference the correct word? Has a roughly equal amount of contestants. I'm sorry, Steve. Redmar Kirchhoff says, did he play upright bass? I think he might have, actually. The end result was going to be a more touch style type instrument, and a small body, and so yeah, actually almost certainly. I haven't thought about that guy for years. Okay. We're nearly there. Okay, question. Would you be able to build a guitar that looks like another custom built guitar? For example, if one was to order a Ken Lawrence style bass, would you build it? Style is the word. Yes, every single instrument ever built, every single guitar ever built is it's a very weird dog barking in the, outside there. The werewolves are coming. Every instrument is based on another instrument. Every guitar is based in some way, shape or form on another guitar. I saw, so my GGBO entry here with the 2-layered carve and the binding going in there, I saw a guy on Reddit the other day who's hand carved an instrument from solid lumber with those carves on, and he's been working on it, he said, for years. I've never seen his work. Absolutely, I mean, I've just never seen his work. He just posted it, and it looks really similar to mine. We've obviously both seen something by, one of the sort of guys formerly from Fender Custom Shop, I suppose, and said, oh, that looks quite nice, and this curve works, and you've got something. So yes, we would be able to do that. We would never outright copy another builder's guitar, but that's a different story. We're done. Patrick Nesbo again. Question, have you built a steel top guitar, and what's the best way of doing it? Also, would you build a steel top semi-hollow? I have built guitars with copper tops in quite some ways, and I mean, it's doable. A steel guitar is interesting. You would weld it, I suppose, instead of riveting it to a wooden body. If I was doing it in a home workshop, I would have a solid wood body, and I would rivet it to the wood, and be done with it. Okay. Rabnox says regionals would be a bad idea. Why is that? Let me know. I'm seriously considering it. Artur Brozowski says, Ben, you're still here? I'm just still here. It's been, it is going long, and I do need to get the kids to school in the morning. Rob Kennard says, hi Ben, I've got a question about fret wire gauge. The last guitar I built had sloppy frets moving after fitting, and the first one I had trouble getting them in. What tolerances are ideal? Basically, put the first one in and see if it's too loose or if it's struggling to go in, and either here we go. So pretend that the file is an upside down fret. If the fret is too loose, hammer down on that. It compresses the tang and it makes it wider. That should fit into a slot that's too loose, but also use glue to hold it in place to make sure. And in the same way, you can actually file down the edges of the tang, the knobbly bits that stick out. You can file those down a little bit if the fret is not going in easy enough. But what are the actual tolerances? I don't know the measurements for them. I do everything by feel, really. Okay, if you have any burning questions, please ask them away, because I'm about to call this a good one. What is the best way to inlay brass? Should you go deep and cover with epoxy, or can you sand and polish easily? You can sand and polish easily unless it is in maple, in which case don't do it. Yeah, I mean, frets are made out of brass. I mean, they're called nickel silver, most frets, but there ain't no silver in there. It's nickel and brass. Just for fun. Spike the Frugal Fixer. Oh yes, after your question to peel off tint over frets, I heard today, take a penny, put a notch in it to match a fret to clean off. Ever heard of that one? I haven't. That's a really good idea. So yeah, essentially the one thing you need to do is take a scalpel blade and at an angle cut down just underneath the fret so that you break the line of the lacquer, so when you scrape it off, it doesn't actually also scrape lacquer off the fretboard itself. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I like it. Okay, so yeah, I think you might be right. Experience levels might be a better way to go, but regionals is a bad way due to folks' local bias perhaps, and loads of others, but only have 200 letters, lol. Okay, however, so whether we call it regionals or heats or whatever, I do think that splitting it up in some way, shape or form is probably a good idea, and I would welcome your ideas on how to do that. Okay. Matthias Lindgren says, if someone wants to send something to you, how would one do that? Crimson HQ, the address is on the website. Yeah, basically everything goes there. I say everything. I don't. People don't send me stuff even every month, let alone enough for me to say everything goes to Crimson HQ, and I pick it up once a week. If you're lucky, I'll sign something and send it back to you if I'm feeling, you know. There's a really pretty plane over there. Please, if you have anything that you want to send to me, send it to Crimson Guitars. Please make sure that my name is on it, say for the attention of Ben. If it's something that you specifically want opened on a What's on the Bench or a live stream, it will be opened at Crimson just to make sure it's not a bomb, as unlikely as that is. But they will, if you say, please, this would be something cool for Ben to open on a live stream, they'll open it up and then close it back up again. Put a letter in so I know who you are and what you sent, and thank you very much. Yeah. I've got some Canadian tea on the way, apparently, which I'm really looking forward to. Okay. Patrick Nesbo, last question, and it's from Patrick. What signature guitar is a guitar that you wish you had come up with? Gibson L5, Louis Law, I think. Fantastic. It's just one of those things. But yeah. Okay, sorry. Final question is Adam Bartram. This really is the last question because I've seen he's asked it a couple of times. On a twin truss rod base, 8-string, would you put the rods parallel to the center line or parallel to the edge? I would do it parallel to the edge, which would allow me to have two different radiuses in line with the strings. It's not something I've ever seriously considered. But yeah, that would be interesting. I would do that parallel to the edge, I think. Prove me if I'm wrong. Rob Kennard said, so if I dropped off a bottle of single malt, what would it be? Surprise me. I mean, I've got some Bladnoch that I'm really enjoying at the moment right now. Glenfiddich is one of my favourites, but I am always open to new things, and that's actually part of the joy of this. So, yeah. Thank you very much, and I am going to say good night. Everybody, please have a fantastic week. It has been. It's been a pleasure as always, internet troubles notwithstanding. I look forward to seeing you next week. Friday the live stream is at 6:30 p.m. Sundays it is at 8 p.m. UK times, of course. Other time zones can apply. I'm so tired. I'm done. Alrighty, just a quick one. Actually, I left these here. There is a major deal going on with Isotunes for Father's Day, which is probably ending soon. But yeah, check out our Instagram, etc. for links to what that is. You can, if you put the right things into your basket, you can actually get a free set for your dad. And there we go. Check out our Discord. Please consider signing up as a member in the YouTube membership. It gives you a nice green name, among other things. And most importantly, go forth and make guitars. It is your sacred duty. I will speak to you guys soon. Have a fantastic week. Goodbye. And now I need to click this button that... There's a moth. There's a moth sitting just out of your view on the lens of the camera. And for the last 20 minutes, I've been waiting for him to crawl up into the camera and just obliterate me. And he's been very well behaved. Good moth. Nice one. What an evening. Been good? I think it's been good. See you soon.